have to record, or do you record?
It's recording.
Yep. Right. Hello, Gareth from the iMoot team here. I'd like to welcome Aurélie and Sam, who are going to present on supporting delivery of postgraduate education to the defence and security sector. Thank you very much for taking your time to present, and good luck. Go for it.
All right, thank you. So we're going to turn the video off now just to reduce the bandwidth issues, but we will put it on at the end so you can see our lovely faces during the Q&A. Okay, so just switching off the camera. Okay, so Aurélie and I would like to thank you for joining us for our talk. It's called Supporting Delivery of Postgraduate Education to the Defence and Security Sector. What we'll do is we'll give you a guided tour of what we do as a team, where we sit with regards to Cranfield University and the UK Defence Academy, but also the types of barriers that we face being situated on a secure military base. We also have some great case studies of our academics that are using Moodle to support them with their teaching. There are two of us presenting. We're going to keep an eye on the chat and Twitter, so if you have any questions, do just chuck them in and we'll try and answer them as we go. But if you have lots of questions, maybe it's worth chucking them in the forum and we can answer them afterwards.
All right, and happy birthday, Sam.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Aurélie Owens. Right slide. Good. I'm Aurélie Owens. This is a little bit about ourselves. As you can hear, probably, I'm from France. I've lived in the UK for about 11 years, and for once we came 25th in the Eurovision contest with 4 points. Yay! and like last year, we'll finish last as usual. Bit of my background: I have worked as a modern foreign language teacher, an IT teacher as well in secondary schools. I've started working at Cranfield University in 2006, and I've supported staff and students in the use of the virtual learning environment at CDS for the last 8 years. First using Blackboard, and then we moved on to Moodle 1.7 at the time in 2007.
Okay, so I'm Sam Taylor. Obviously, I'm from the UK, and we came 24th this year, so we beat the French with our sang-froid. And by the way, this is especially so we can both claim our Eurovision badge, because we love our open badges here. So I'm a former lecturer in dance and sports science. That's where I started using Moodle as a teacher. Some of you may have heard my name mentioned from Southampton Solent University, which is where I was for 8 years working in the e-learning team there. And I did a lot of work there with Moodle, Turnitin, and especially Mahara. I moved to Cranfield 2.5 months ago. So it was a bit of a culture shock coming from a very high-tech, open, media-based university to one that's on such a restricted, secure network. So I'm come from a place where it's good to be open and sharing, but where I am now, you do have to be quite secretive about things as well. So
if we tell you, we have to kill you.
Yeah, we'd have to kill you. No, we wouldn't. But I really thought, we could have called this a tale of two learning technologists, Aurélie and I, but we thought, no, we need to be serious and do a proper case study. So here's Cranfield University. So we're employed by them. It's one of the top 5 research-intensive universities in the UK. But Cranfield have the contract to deliver the postgraduate education to the Defence Academy. So as you can see, it's located in Bedfordshire, halfway between London and Birmingham, 2 major cities. And it's got its own airport, which is quite exciting. So those of us that are based at the Defence Academy will refer to it as the main campus. They do have their own tech-enhanced learning team there. They also have a centre for andragogy and academic skills. However, they use Blackboard as their VLE, so we differ quite greatly in that respect. So just to give you an idea, it is exclusively postgraduate, so all of our students are mature students. If you want to see more, there's a link there, but you can Google Cranfield and see everything about it. There are 8 major themes that are divided into 4 schools. So this is quite cool, some of the degrees that we offer. So in the School of Aerospace, Transport Systems and Manufacturing, they do really cool stuff like aerospace dynamics, aircraft design, gas turbine technology, automotive engineering and applied nanotechnology. So they're quite groovy sounding courses. There's a School of Energy, Environmental Technology and Agri-Food. So they do awesome things like biofuels process engineering, offshore and ocean technology, community water and sanitation, environmental engineering and integrated landscape ecology. So they're quite cool as well. And there's also the School of Management. So they look at things like supply chain logistics, managing people, global careers, corporate responsibility and business economics and finance, which they don't sound so cool, but they are really, really important. And then finally, at the bottom, you've got the Cranfield Defence and Security School. Now, this is what this is the area that Aurélie and I support, that are based at the Defence Academy, and our degrees are just incredible. So we do awesome things like defence simulation, forensic ballistics, gun system design, and military weapons technology. So we rule.
And this is our school, the School of Cranfield Defence and Security. So as you can see from the map, it's located at the Defence Academy of the United Kingdom between Swindon and Oxford, about 2 hours drive from Cranfield's University main campus. It's not your usual university setup, as we've already hinted. It has armed guards and secure fence, as well as lots of people on uniform on site. You must wear name badges at all times too. Basically, it's a military base. No, Siggy, there's no archery.
No archery, Siggy.
Here's the main tagline from our website. We do have a close relationship with the MOD, the Ministry of Defence, as well as foreign countries' MODs. We do have a unique set of facilities as well, as it says. We have a shooting and explosive ranges. We have wind tunnel, guns and tanks too. Our typical students are mature postgraduate students with a mixture of military and civilian students from the UK and overseas. And our staff as well are from all over the world, quite a lot of European staff. We have joked about running Eurovision contests before as well. A large proportion of the courses run as part-time with typically pre-reading, 1 week intensive teaching and then assessment. So a lot of flexible learning. We have 2 main intakes of courses, September and then January.
So obviously working on a very secure military base, there are a lot of barriers when it comes to using technology. Now, for a start, you're not allowed to use USB sticks, no memory sticks. I'm not quite sure what happens when you do plug one in, but I've seen people in uniform walking around with big scary dogs. So I really don't want to give it a go because I'd hate to think what happens. So blanket ban on memory sticks. There is also restrictions on what you can actually download onto your machines. So for example, you can't download Java, so we can't share our screens with you. There's also restrictions on streaming content, so you can't use Skype at your machine. If you want to use Skype, you have to book one of 2 rooms. Yes, 2 rooms on the entire base to do your Skype conversation. There's also a severe issue with bandwidth, so we're throttled quite a lot, and it's a miracle actually that Aurélie's done the wonderful things she has done for the past 8 years, and also our academics as well. Wi-Fi has only just happened, so I think it's about a year old on the base, but it hasn't actually hit every single corner of the base. So yeah, it is very hard, Siggy. You know what I'm like with my technology and internet, so it's been very hard. And then you've got the other barrier of different contractors looking after different things. So for example, all the machines and the network is looked after one contractor, and then you have a different IT team looking after the software, and it's just crazy. So it means that as students, they all have to have an IT induction because there are multiple logins for multiple systems, and they really need to be held throughout the process. So some of you are probably wondering how we're doing so well with our presentation here with all those restrictions. We are actually sat in Aurélie's kitchen. So it's the only way that we could actually get this to work, because we tried lots of different things and it wasn't happening.
Right, and this is our Moodle. This is what our Moodle looks like. We call it the CDS VLE, as you can see on here, Cronfield Defense and Security Virtual Learning Environment. You're welcome to go and have a look at vle.cds.cronfield.ac.uk. There's also a link on our page, on our iMoot page, sessions page. We're currently running Moodle 2.5.9, awaiting an upgrade to 2.8, hopefully this summer. On the page, you can see, if you have a look, you will be able to access for free, just without any login, the Getting Started for Students area. And that's just by clicking Login as Guest when you're prompted to log in. So feel free to have a look after the presentation if you want. All logged in students and staff see their course pages via either the tab or the quick link here saying My Courses, where they click on that and then they get a navigation area where they can see the listings of their courses.
So there are a couple of support guides that we've used the VLE for. So for example, there is a Moodle support page for staff and students. So as Aurélie said, the Getting Started for Students is open and available for you to look at your leisure. There's also the personal and academic skills support pages. They're there for our students. As Aurélie said, our student body are quite unique, so they're mature, a lot of them are professionals. Some of them, even though it's postgraduate study, some of them may not have actually done an undergraduate degree before, so it really helps them sort of look at academic skills and how they differ from maybe some of the vocational education they've done previously, or if any. And there's also assessment support in there, so they can understand the rules and regs. We use Turnitin, so there's a Turnitin submission page, support page as well. But we've also been developing with our other e-learning colleagues staff pages on how to use Moodle to create good courses, so course design, exemplar courses. And we've just started looking at Mahara, so there is a Mahara training page as well.
This is a quick example of a page. Every taught course, that's all our postgraduate certificates and master's programs, have a series of admin pages, such as a library support, course information, as well as an external examiners page. Now, all the courses have got external examiners and exam boards, and up to recently, the administrators for the course would print the paperwork from coursework or burn it on CDs to give to the external examiners. Most of our coursework, by the way, is submitted using Turnitin via our VLE. So it's all centered around the VLE through Turnitin. So since September 2014, the administrators said they won't print anything, so we had to find a solution. And the problem is the external examiners aren't necessarily allowed to see the course material and access the Turnitin submission points, because Turnitin, as some of you might know, is not yet granular enough to prevent them to edit anything, either your teacher or your students, but you haven't got that role in between. So as you can see from the template here, we've got a version of the external examiners page. It has general material for the external examiners, so handbooks, etc., to see, and then depending on their course, then it will have different modules. This is our menu, and they're replicated in the page with different folders with material uploaded there for them. So it's basically a landing page for them about the course and a repository of all the submitted papers. And here we have just a quick look at our other technologies that we're using. As I've just mentioned Turnitin. So Cronfield University Senate has made submissions to Turnitin for all summative coursework compulsory since 2007. Some of our courses do have exemptions for submitting module coursework via Turnitin because of the nature of the work. As you can imagine, some modules have got secret or classified content. Most marking now happens within Turnitin 2 in GradeMark. The other software that's used on site is Turning Technologies Turning Point Clickers. Staff can borrow them for voting systems activities in a class. The Maple TA piece of software is used for math assessment. It's not actually integrated in Moodle yet as such, but staff use URLs to link Maple TA sort of tests to their pages when needed. The Ensemble video streaming media server is also used. We use it to store, compress, and stream videos that we embed in our Moodle pages, and staff as well embed in their Moodle pages.
Yeah. As I said, our video conferencing is a bit limited. However, we do have WebEx and vScene. So WebEx is a sort of video conferencing software which you can actually use in those 2 rooms that you can book out. However, we do have something called a global classroom, which uses vScene for their live classroom sessions. We also have Mahara, so we've only just started looking at that since I've been there. It was kind of like a part of my interview. I said, please, can we have Mahara? And they said, well, actually, we were looking into it, but we didn't know what to do with it. So yes, you can have Mahara. So I'm very excited. So who knows, hopefully next year I can talk more about Mahara. And obviously, yes, so there's Blackboard. And like I said, the main campus use Blackboard. We don't use Blackboard. However, some of our lecturers, including one Aurélie will talk about in a minute, they teach on a course virtually at the main campus, so they have to use Blackboard.
So we've put together a few case studies, elements that we'd like to share with you. We hope that will give you an insight on the variety of tools and activities used in Moodle at Cranfield Defence and Security in the blended learning and distance learning context. So to start with, this is Laura Lacey. She's one of our lecturers, lecturer in systems engineering, also previous course director for a systems engineering course. Her background is she's an engineer from Korea. She's been for over 20 years. In the last 3 years of her engineering career, she was teaching on an aerosystem engineering course, and the topic was specialist topic was propulsion. She was mainly teaching using whiteboard teaching, so there was no sort of distance learning or online learning of that. Laura got access to a virtual learning environment for the first time when she studied for a postgraduate certificate in education. When she started to teach at Cranfield, Laura initially used Blackboard because that's what we were using at the time, and has now been using Moodle since 2007 when we migrated to Moodle. In terms of a type of students that Laura has, as I said earlier, it's a sort of typical mix that we have, but she teaches in quite a variety of courses. She has 4 engineering courses, 1 acquisition and airworthiness course using Moodle, and another course using Blackboard, as Sam just mentioned, Cranfield University main campus. Most of the students are mature postgraduate students, a large proportion of students from military or military-related industry background. Most of the students are part-time, that's on-site for a week at a time for 1 module generally, so that's sort of intensive teaching or learning, and some are full-time. In terms of Laura's thoughts on Moodle, she finds that in general the biggest problem is to manage what's available. She says it's easy to give too much material. She thinks Moodle is great to enable very quick feedback on what the students have taken away from the teaching week and targeting further teaching improvements. It's got useful revision tools. She loves drag and drop into folders and renaming very easily since we've upgraded to Moodle 2.4 last year, because we were on 1.9 until last year. She finds it's an issue we can't change the background of color for dyslexic students, and we're working onto that. We're looking at the accessibility block, but obviously she finds that difficult. And the other thing she's mentioned when we asked her about her thoughts on Moodle, she was comparing it to Blackboard. Her experience in Blackboard, she found that it wasn't enhancing for the students in any way in Blackboard. She found her biggest problem was how difficult assignment feedback and rubrics were, and making material available for students. So she much prefers Moodle. Yay! I'm going to show you a few examples of use from Laura of our Moodle environment. First of all, she does aim to provide an easy access to all the presentations for the students. So that's sort of repository function that a lot of people use, obviously. One of the courses she teaches on the Defense Acquisition Management, which actually turns out to be DAM course. The DAM students download their presentations as PDF from Moodle a week before the lectures. The reason for using PDF is security, copyright, and also ease of annotation for students via apps on mobile devices, for instance. Laura uses a one topic per page layout, content layout, and due to the large amount of material and activity she presents and provides to the students, but also so that the students can concentrate on one topic at a time. In this example here, in that module, she has a menu, and this is a typical menu we'll have in most of our pages, but course by course it'll be templated differently, and then staff might enhance that. And
can I say, I love the icons that you can actually choose to put in with the menu. This is something I'm not used to.
So here, for example, you've got an icon for pre-reading, and it's repeated in the menu as well, automatically as soon as you've put it in there. So we've got icons for the visual sort of link to the topic, and also students will be able to navigate more easily because it's got the menu. Yeah, so in her pre-reading area, she will have things like open source math links, links to core text on the library website, papers to read, as well as setting expectations on how long the students spend on activity. Laura tries to make it common practice to have narrative around the activities, and that's one of the things she does very well. She will actually explain what the students are meant to do with those resources. She chooses to display the resources in a folder within the page, which is not always common practice for our other staff. She finds that it's easy to rename these to display in the order she wants, because Moodle orders the files alphabetically, so she's played with that to make it display how she wants it. The other example I wanted to show you is that self-assessment exercise. This is on the Friday at the end of the week, a session just before their wash-up session, their final session. They use as a consolidation. Laura sets up a series of questions as choice activity in Moodle, and the students answer using their iPads or tablet or their laptop as a self-assessment exercise. Laura can then show the spread of answers to the student without picking on anyone. So they don't have, although they're in the class with her, she doesn't have to pick on who's said what. She can actually just summarize something if she realizes that somebody hasn't quite grasped the meaning of something. Laura has used a variety of other activities in other modules and these modules, so quizzes for overall feedback on pre-reading and simple feedback guides to the students as well. So she would test their pre-reading and guide them back to the reading if they didn't answer the questions as she would like it. And also forums, quite a lot of forum to raise any issues on the modules. So she uses activities flexibly around it. But Laura's favorite activity is the Wiki. She has a type of exercise which is a Wiki activity, but is classroom-based. So students are on site. She puts them into groups and they are doing group work in separate classrooms with a computer. They use the Wiki as a blended learning tool. So the students have to research a topic and they populate the Wiki. Laura created specific guides here. I don't know how clear it is for you to see, but she's got a series of guides. She's got a link to the Moodle.org guide, but also guides that she's created herself. And she uses a lot of pictorial description rather than lists. So she creates guides with screenshots, and she's added it in there. She gives them a lot of instructions, like do not delete other people's work, and also a template. So she set up a template with the links, and the student just fill in each pages as part of their group work. So each group comes up with a slightly different output. In this case, in this wiki, there were two groups and they were set up as separate. And then on the Friday morning, Laura switches the activity to visible, which means that they can actually see each other's work and also use the references for their revisions and she insists that they do use the references as well. She does, it's her favourite activity, basically. She does like this one quite a lot.
Yeah, her face lit up when she was talking about it to us, so it's quite nice when you see lecturers get very excited about Moodle.
Now, back to the top tips and wishlist, do's and don'ts, quite a few. Do be prepared to write some simple guides and instructions with screenshots. Laura's really keen on giving pictorial guides. Take the time to show the students specific activities in your page. Give yourself time and ask support from the support team, that's us. Use the Moodle.org pages. Make sure you switch your role to students to see what they can see. Don't assume your students know how to use Moodle or that they will pick up the skills quickly. So she says you do have to have a dialogue with them about how to use Moodle. Like we're talking about mature students returning to studies for some of them as well. So do reflect upon your activities, but don't assume everything will work straight away, and learn from it. It can be carried over for the next module occurrence and adapted with student feedback. So she's quite keen on getting feedback to the students and just by trying different activities, see what works best. Her wish list, Laura currently uses PDF for acronyms, but intends to develop a complete glossary as her next step for the course development. And so she wants to use glossary more, and she wants better accessibility settings for dyslexic students.
Okay, so another one of our lecturers is Ruth Massey. So she is a lecturer in cybersecurity, another cool sounding course that we do. So she was a student at Cranfield many years ago, and then she went and worked in the business sector for 11 years. She then got a fellowship to study a PhD. So while she was doing this PhD, that's when she was introduced to Moodle, because as part of her PhD, she has to do online activities, and the university where she does her PhD uses Moodle. So she's got this unique insight to using Moodle as a student as well. And when she was actually working in the business sector, she was a consultant on a project looking into business continuity software, which is all about using tech to connect people. So she's got this great idea of how technology should be used for teaching. So her student demographic is quite interesting. So like Laura's courses, they have a very short, intensive on-campus residential. So they come in, do very intensive learning, and then the rest of the course is delivered online. She has about 3 cohorts running throughout the year at different stages, and there are around 50 students per cohort. During the residential, she really does her best to put her students into teams. So this sort of helps them when they actually leave campus and start doing stuff online. It helps them to build up more courage to carry on communicating and collaborating using the tech. So her students, she describes as professionals that do really tough jobs. The average age of them are about 40 years old. About 90% of them are male. And also 90% of them are from the uniformed military sector, which means that at any given moment, they could be deployed anywhere around the world, sometimes at very short notice. So her current cohort, she's got students that study from the Falkland Islands, Spain, Italy, Northern Scotland, America, and elsewhere. In fact, she thinks only 2 students actually live locally to where they're studying. She loves Moodle. All her students are experts in their field. She calls them slices of information, slices of knowledge. And her students' slices of information and knowledge are so different from each other. So she sees her job as getting her students to open up and appreciate each other's slices and to share their slices. So she likes to use Moodle to get them to share their knowledge and build knowledge together. So yeah, like I said, she feels that using Moodle first as a student in combination with a business background has helped her gain a good idea of how she could use it to support her own teaching practices. And she says she started off the same as any lecturer using Moodle for the first time. She just uploaded loads of slides and files. But then she started talking to other teachers and other lecturers to see how they're using Moodle, and started using quizzes. And she feels that she couldn't teach the course without Moodle. But then again, we have lots of connectivity and internet issues. But hopefully it won't be like that forever. Hopefully it'll get better. So a couple of things that she's allowed us to show. So this is an example how she uses Moodle to teach like the on-campus residential, the face-to-face session. So here there's this activity called What is Cyber? And that's quite exciting. What she does is she gets her students to write down in 140 characters a tweet that defines, well, their definition of what is cyber. And then what she does is she gets those people to pair up with somebody else in the room, and then together they work on looking at each other's and then defining a joint definition. And then again, those pairs are paired up with another pair. And eventually it whittles down to 6 different definitions. So all she's done is basically taken the 6 definitions and popped them on her Moodle page just to be used as a reflective guide. And then over here, so like some of the other lecturers we spoke to, like Laura, she also uses it as a place to upload photographs that she's taken on the day. So any of the group activities that are done where the students are working on flip chart paper, because she can't actually take photographs in the classrooms because there's a restriction on that, she just gathers all the flip chart paper, takes them back to her office, takes photos, and then uploads them to Moodle. Like I said, she's very much into forums as well. She's got them in their little groups and they chat quite regularly. With the online version, she tries to design asynchronous activities as opposed to live ones, because her students are in so many different time zones and sometimes there may be very limited internet access. Live activities don't work as well. However, she has had a go at using the chat function, which has been quite successful for her when she's delivering the session and for the students that actually are able to take part, which is a shame for those that obviously could not interact and only has the recording of the chat, but at least it's better than nothing. And so this is an activity that she has created, and she was quite adamant on this whole thing of you need to help your students to help themselves. You're there to encourage learning. It's not a training course, it's a master's. And she uses a lot of discussion boards to get the students to build knowledge, but also the Wiki tool again. So this is another use of the Wiki. So she says you're not there to spoon feed them. Do not put every single resource you can find up on your Moodle page. Just give them 10 key ones to begin with, and then get the students to find their own and share them back with the group. So you're sort of helping them to help themselves. So
Hi, Gareth. I think we've lost audio for a little minute. We'll just give it a little second. Hopefully they'll come back.
I'll put this in. Should we go out and back in again?
We're back.
Are we back? Oh no. Okay.
You're back. We can hear you.
Right. How far through did you get?
I think the last word was we something.
We. Okay, well anyway, this is a Wiki activity. Yeah, we all know what a Wiki is, so we'll carry on. So just to conclude, she says do not spoon feed your students, use Moodle to support their learning. Do give your students really strict guidance of what you expect. So, for example, some of her students wanted to write 1,000-word essays in the forums. Well, that's no good. Forum activity is rubbish for that sort of thing. So she's trying to get them to think more of writing 300-word responses that are focused to the topic rather than put everything down in one post and then just walk away and not look at it. She'd love to have an easy way to download all the content from the Moodle page, but I know Martin Dugamus earlier was saying that they're looking at offline content, which would be quite cool. So we're looking forward to that.
Right. The next case study is Dr. Chris Hargreaves. He's lecturer in forensic computing and course director for the forensic computing course. Chris studied his PhD at Cranfield Defense and Security, so where we are. He taught a few lessons to begin with, and he stayed. He's now become very recently course director for the MSc. Each module on the MSc is a mix of full-time students, part-time students, and every module is also offered as a short course. So there are industry professionals in the mix too. So it's a bit different from the two previous sets of courses that we looked at. They also have basically paying students who come from just one module at a time as a short course. They all have access to the same material on and off campus and the same resources as well. Chris started using Moodle about 3 years ago. This was instigated as a positive move by the previous course director, and he decided at the time this is how it will be done now. And they decided that because before that, what they had is a A4 lever arch folder produced for every single module. It was often a nightmare to update and make last-minute modifications to. And of course, to print as well. Here at CDS, most of the time we need 2 weeks prior notice to get reprographics to print anything. So a bit of a nightmare, or a lot of last-minute printing waiting next to the copier. The entire MSc is now paperless, all delivered via Moodle, and all the students get a student skills tutorial on digital note-taking as well. It makes administration a lot easier. Forums have replaced long lists of emails. They're able to give students access to more resources and also provide structure to each session. Due to the nature of the course, the students are predominantly sat in front of the computer, and therefore there was little in the way of accessibility issue when it comes to using software and locating resources. It also means that there's very little reliance on students having their own devices because they're sat in front of a computer already. So that was an easier thing for them. Now, just the structure of the page, they're looking at the tiered approach to resources. So they have slides, PDF format, or notes, further reading, and then activities provided afterwards to embed or assimilate new knowledge, which includes PDF, interactive PDFs, and quizzes as well, depending on the type of activities. In this case here, looking at this concept, they do have some issues with data size where some resources have to be stored locally and sort of beamed back from the back of the room to all the computers because obviously Moodle won't handle that, and we don't have a content management system capable of doing that yet. They are using Moodle as a springboard to external tools and resources, so they have lots of links to other areas as well. So Chris says Moodle for us isn't a file repository, it's the place where you interact with stuff. So when they're looking at those quizzes, you'll have interactive quizzes, and they will be able to go around the classroom and check that everybody's doing okay. All lights are green on their screens when they get correct answers, or if it sees a bit of red, they'll go and talk to individual students to see where they're struggling. In terms of Chris's wish list, he would love to have more closed type quizzes, but it's a bit time consuming, even for a forensic scientist, believe it or not. The screenshot is here, shows some circumstances where they can't use closed questions, closed type quizzes. It's either difficult or impossible to use for them. So they fall back on interactive PDFs because basically they have diagrams with blanks, and it's not really possible to do that at the moment in Moodle. So if anybody has any solutions for this, please let us know, because Chris will be happy to hear about that. Do's and don'ts now. Well, the main thing for Chris is his heart sinks when he sees Word documents and PowerPoints uploaded to Moodle. For him, PDF is the answer. PDFs make material easier to access. There's no need to open any new application. There's better user experience and the same experience for multiple devices. And his next top tip is try to be a student with it, which is similar to Laura earlier. Imagine how a student will use your Moodle pages and tools. Switch to user and see what they will use. Put yourself in their shoes.
So we were very fortunate to grab a student. So this is one of Chris's students, Emily Bubbins, and she's studying the MSc in Forensic Computing. Now, she started off in studying forensic science as a bachelor's years and years ago, and she then went and worked in the world in hospitality, but then decided, no, I want to go back and study. So she started off studying the forensic ballistics course because, you know, we have guns, lots of big guns and lots of cool stuff to look at. However, she really enjoyed the forensic computing module that she did in the introduction, so she switched. She loves the intensive nature of the course, and she says because it's so intensive, there's less distractions. So it's part of her everyday learning. It's almost like her workbook, her course book. So they come in, they all have computers in front of them, and they all have the software on there, and they go straight to Moodle. So whilst the lecturer is presenting at the front, they can have the slides in front of them. The lecturer notes are there as well. And then after the lecture is finished, they go straight into the activities, which they get from Moodle. Also, the software is very specialist, so it really suits the nature of this course. Obviously, as we said, there's quite a lot of network issues, and if all students are trying to download the same document at the same time, it does go a bit funny. But the students are really, really cool and brilliant, and they've decided that they all do it at the same time, and then while the machines are struggling, they go off and have a coffee and talk about what was just learnt during the lecture. So they use it as positive, networking time. Which I just think is fantastic. And because the Moodle, the activities and lecture notes in Moodle are released at the same time at the start of the lesson, it means that every student gets to see the material with fresh eyes, and she loves that as well. So she couldn't imagine the course working as well as it does if it was done on paper. In fact, she was very shocked when we told her that the course used to be delivered with giant ring binders. Especially because of the nature of the topic, forensic computing, and also the diverse background of students. She can't imagine everybody going home with masses of ring binders to work on them. Her big wish list is to have a download all PDF facility in each Moodle page. So instead of having to frantically try and download all the documents separately, she just wants to be able to download the whole thing into a zip file, so that when they do their exams, so they have like almost like an open book, but it's kind of like everything's on your laptop. She likes to be able to have all the files there.
Okay. Well, I hope that's given you a bit of an insight on our sort of blended learning, traditional academic teaching that's happening at CBS. Finally, we also have something a little bit different. Our team, Learning Services, provide a different set of activities, which is developing e-learning products. And these are basically e-learning packages. Katie Yenota here is our senior learning designer, and Fran Harrison, our e-learning project manager. Part of the team is set up as e-learning design studios with 4 multimedia designers and programmers, 2 learning designers, and an e-learning project manager. They develop fully distance learning packages, such as here the military knowledge package that's here. If you want to know anything about it, just feel free to go to the website. It's developed for military students, and it's a fully online package, or CD, actually, it can be on a CD in there. There is then the Introduction to Explosives. There are 4 separate sessions, courses that students can pay for, and it's delivered on our Moodle, and they will then sort of get certificates of completion after they've done the quizzes. This is the RSCORM package. And they're converting them to HTML5. Katie also supports learning design for traditional academic content, including material and activities for Moodle. So there is a crossover between the e-learning, purely e-learning design, and this sort of academic provision that we're delivering.
Okay, so we've now come to the end of our talk. I'm going to put the webcam on. Hopefully we don't look too frazzled. oh. Have a look.
Yeah, we're here.
Huzzah. So so thank you for coming to have a look and see what we've been doing. We have a joint email at the bottom. Obviously we have our separate ones, but that FL Help is us, basically. So if you have any questions, then please ask. And also if you've got some questions now, we're more than happy to answer them.
And later on the discussion forum on our page, no worries.
Yeah, but don't be too late because I've got a birthday dinner to go to.
Any questions or suggestions?
Can you still hear us? Oh, yeah. No, I appreciate the work. Oh, cool. I mean, it is very different to a mainstream university. Yeah, explosives 4.
Yeah, and actually explosive 4 is explosive 9, but it's the 4th lesson that's available. The others aren't available to the public.
I think you should have a drink now. Oh, I've got an hour's drive to get back home, so I can't drink just yet, Siggy.
You've got water?
In a pint. I've got my pint of water. Okay, well, actually, it's based on your fingers. Very good, very good. Okay, well,
Okay. Thank you very much, Aurélie and Sam. On behalf of the iMoot team, thank you very much for presenting. Very informative, diverse, definitely loads of different case studies in a rather constrained environment that you're dealing with, and with different aspects of themes and everything like that. So thank you very much indeed.
Okay, no problem. And do we get our Eurovision badge?
I've already issued them.
Yay! All right. Well, thank you very much. And yes, so all